And we're live, just popping up on a Wednesday night. Me and Nish decided, look, it's free agency. New league year starts March 13th, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, and we are on the West Coast. So we've been enduring this news all day. Everything that's breaking, officialized trades, signings, rumors, more signings that no one really knew were going to happen in the legal tampering period that was just occurring. Crazy news out of Philadelphia with who they brought back. And we'll get to all that in a second. We're just going to dive right in to the free agents. Well, Nish, let them know. Let them know what's going on with the Birds' running back situation. Just real quick, start them off with a bang. I want to hear. What are you not disgraced right now that this team didn't come away with any quality running backs?
Yeah, I am. I thought we were gonna get Tevin Coleman. You know, I thought we were gonna get him, and he signed with the San Francisco 49ers for 2 years, 10 mil. That's probably around. That's like a 5 mil a year. So I'm kind of like, what's Howie doing? Like, why isn't he, just
Yeah,
just doing that deal? Like, we need a running back. That's like we need it because once we get one, our offense is going to be dynamic.
yes.
So it's kind of like, what is he doing, literally?
It's kind of like you think finally, like, this is the off season, how he's going to go out and get a running back, make a move there, and he doesn't. And we're sitting here now at the bottom of the barrel unless he makes a trade to net us someone that could potentially be a top back, because the guys now aren't even potentially top backs. They're just number twos. So the bottom line is that you have to find a way to get a number one running back, not so much the guy that's going to take all the carries, but a guy that's talented enough that he can make that kind of impact. He can block, he can catch passes. The guys in the free agency pool and I mean, in the draft, you don't know, but in the free agency pool now, it's a bunch of guys that are solidified number two running backs that you don't really want, being those top guys. I'd say TJ Yeldon might be my favorite prospect left on the free agency market. And I mean, who knows if they get him? He's kind of, to me, like a poor man's Tevin Coleman, whereas he can catch, he can run, but not quite at the same level. I don't think he's as good. However, in our offense, in the Eagles' offense, this guy could end up making a big impact. So we don't have a starter. We're working to get one, I guess. And, we're saying we because we're Eagles fans. We feel like we're on the team. So whenever we say we, that's who we're talking about, because, we take just as much of a beating as those guys do. No, not really. But Nish, what's your biggest surprise this offseason in free agency so far? I mean, not just Eagles. What move stood out to you as something that really, when you saw that news, you kind of just couldn't believe it, and you had to reread the Adam Schefter tweet or whatever, the verified source tweet? What was that move, and what did you feel about it?
I think it would have to be the Malik Jackson one, because I didn't think he was going to be on the Eagles' radar. Mm-hmm. And I thought they were going to go into the draft and draft a D tackle or a D end or somebody like that, but I wasn't really.
So out of all the moves that happened in the league, I mean, literally around the league, the Malik Jackson one surprised you more than any?
Yeah, because it's kind of like, where Antonio Brown wanted to go. You knew he was going to get traded, so that kind of, wasn't a surprise to me. Then you had, Le'Veon Bell going to the Jets. It's kind of like over the course of yesterday, it's like you're getting tweets coming from different guys saying, "Oh, he's going there." So it's kind of like,
yeah,
you knew where he's kind of going, but at the same time, it's kind of like it didn't really surprise or shock me. Like, when I got that notification that Eagles are signing Malik Jackson, I was like, "What's going on here? Like, did I miss something?"
It was crazy. I agree. But the move that shocked me more than any was the Odell Beckham Jr. trade. I mean,
I totally forgot about that one.
I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah.
So Odell Beckham gets traded to the New York Giants, from the New York Giants to the Browns. Now it's funny because the Browns were rumored to have something big brewing, and there were a lot of dark sources, as in not verified, but guys that you kind of know have an inside ear to something. Some things they say may hold weight. Someone that's behind the scenes, but not necessarily known to be someone that has all the connects and things like that. But however, there were, bottom line is there was a couple of those people saying that there's something big brewing in Cleveland. And, it kind of caught waves. And then Olivier Vernon gets traded from the Giants to the Browns for an offensive guard, Zeitler. And he's one of the best offensive guards in football. So you're like, oh my gosh, they fleeced them. Like the Giants fans were kind of flexing a little. Oh, just wait till we get our new quarterback. We finally, our O-line is going to be built. And, I felt like a lot of people echoed that statement. Like, yeah, that was a stupid move by the Browns. Like they're going to, the Browns are going to be stupid. And then out of nowhere, just like last offseason, there were those rumors about Odell to the Browns, and it almost was more like a joke than anything. And then out of nowhere yesterday, Mike Garofalo drops it. Odell Beckham traded to the Cleveland Browns. Now, he's a verified source. This isn't, some incarcerated Bob or Ben Albright or any of those guys that are plugged in but not,
plugged in
to that level, right? And everyone just kind of just stopped what they were doing and couldn't believe it. I mean, stop what they were doing and just complete haywire. It was on TV. I was eating. I was just talking to Nish. I was in Carlsbad, and we linked up, and then I was going out of town back to LA, and I had dinner at a place called the Local Tap House, and they had all the TVs on, people around me at the bar. This is like California, Oceanside, San Diego area. It's not like a football thing at all, not a football environment for the most part. And I'm sitting there and people are talking about Odell Beckham. So I think that's the move that you just know Odell Beckham, big time player like that in the NFL getting traded. It's like an NBA trade where, you see that big name go and you're like, oh my gosh. And it was Odell Beckham. And how's that looking for the Giants, Nish? Are they looking good next year, or what do you think?
They're going to be in the bottom of the NFC for the third year in a row. Eli Manning, he's 38. He's not going to do anything. He's not what he used to be. I don't think their O-line is that great either. And they have Saquon Barkley, but I saw this funny tweet on Twitter. It's like Saquon Barkley is going to have 76 carries in one game and 180 yards, and he's going to be like crawling to his car. So that's basically what it's going to be. They're just going to give him the rock like every single play basically because Eli Manning, he's a shell of himself. And I think right now, the Eagles and Giants are tied at, their series is tied up at like 86-2. Eagles will be leading that series by the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
They'll sweep them.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree. They will. The Eagles have owned the Giants, and this is probably the worst team that the Giants have fielded in a while. I mean, they've been terrible the last 2 years, missing the playoffs, just an absolute flame out after 2016 being such a good team, having that stout defense, and just looking like the legit, hey, this is Eli Manning's last hoorah. Maybe he'll go to the playoffs a couple times in a row. Maybe they'll win a couple playoff games. Now, Super Bowl, who knows? But after that 2016 season, a lot of people did pick them to at least go to or win the Super Bowl, thinking that defense would continue to improve, thinking that offense with those weapons would improve. And they were bad enough to draft Saquon Barkley and said, hey, let's give it another shot. And after that, they have just halfway blown up the team. Now, it's odd because the Giants keep 38-year-old Eli Manning. They have Odell Beckham Jr. shipped out of town. That's a young guy you can build around. And then another guy that they don't keep around is Landon Collins. I mean, you're letting Landon Collins walk out the door, and he signs with the Washington Redskins in the division. The Redskins, it doesn't really make sense for them to sign him either, but they did because Dan Snyder loves the allure of these big name guys like that. And he loves screwing over division rivals by nabbing up their players like he did with Djax. But nonetheless, they don't really make sense as a destination. They just gave him a crazy paycheck, and he was like, hell, I'll take it, you know? But the Giants, they're like in the same situation where they have an old quarterback, and then they're like shipping out young players, and the Redskins are signing young players, but they don't have a quarterback at all. Young, old, doesn't matter. I mean, I guess they could go, draft one because they were, they're probably in range this year, but Landon Collins, I mean, he lands in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, and we're gonna have to see him 2 times a year as Eagles fans. So, a couple other free agent signings. Trey Flowers goes to the Detroit Lions. He was, one of the top DNs on the market, if not the top DN, coming out of New England. And then another. It's not a free agent signing, but another edge rusher that goes to a different team was the San Francisco 49ers. Niche, we signed Brandon Graham for $12 million. These guys are getting stacks of cash. DeMarcus Lawrence is going to be next. He might demand Khalil Mack money at this point with the money that a guy like D Ford gets at 5 years, $90 million. They gave the guy, I think it was, $51 million guaranteed. They gave the guy Nick Foles money, quarterback money. It's insane. So, how smart is it looking? Howie Roseman kind of comes in, gets a quality D end and Brandon Graham that's familiar with the defense at a cheap price. How important is the edge rusher in today's NFL, Nish?
I think the edge rusher is important because they're getting to the quarterback. They might get there some way, but they're pushing either the left tackle or the right tackle, and they're getting that leverage on them, so they're able to, get a sack, and also the inside pressure from a Fletcher Cox. In Fletcher Cox's case, he'll get double teamed, so it kind of relieves the pressure for a Brandon Graham or a Chris Long because they're able to get to the quarterback and get sacks. But when it comes to D Ford, honestly, I don't think I think he's a good player, but this dude basically cost the Chiefs the AFC title by lining up offside. I don't know why you're giving him a 5-year, $90 million deal, 51 guaranteed. Come on. Yeah. I think these GMs are just trying to dole out their money to these players just to make them happy. And when they get their money, they might not perform. So
yeah, it's tough. Free agency's tough. Free agency involves a lot of risk, just like the draft. Even though these guys are proven talents in the NFL, a guy like C.J. Mosley, who signed with the New York Jets for a monster contract, they then go and sign Anthony Barr. So we're going with a run on linebackers early in free agency. However, Anthony Barr gets cold feet, pulls a Frank Gore, and goes back to the Minnesota Vikings. They throw a big check at him. Locking up your guys internally and locking up a guy that is from out of town are 2 different things. And I think that internally taking care of your players is very, very important. I think the Jets going out, grabbing, like you said earlier, Le'Veon Bell as well, grabbing C.J. Mosley, they're putting a lot of money out there for guys that they want to build their team around. And it's, from out of town, not organically grown guys, not guys that, they tried out for a year and then gave an extension to based on culture fit, based on performance. When you just bring a bunch of guys together on huge contracts, it can backfire. And we've seen that as Eagles fans. So I think the Vikings scored really big getting Anthony Barr back. Speaking of linebackers coming back to teams, there was one that didn't come back to the Philadelphia Eagles, and it was inside linebacker Jordan Hicks. Ends up in Arizona. Niche, is that a huge loss for the Eagles, or are they going to be all right without Jordan Hicks?
I think they'll be all right because Jordan Hicks, he was a good player, but he couldn't stay healthy. Like in 2015, his rookie year, he was out for the season with a torn pectoral muscle. I don't know about 16 if he got injured. 17, he got injured against the Washington Redskins with the torn Achilles. And then last year he missed a few games. So I don't think I think the Eagles knew they couldn't depend on him because he was always getting injured and sometimes at the inopportune times. So I think it's good for him that he's getting a big money deal and he's going to the Arizona Cardinals. But I think it helps the Eagles because they'll be able to look at a linebacker either in free agency or the draft.
I agree. I totally agree with that. And in 2016, it was his only season that he actually did stay healthy the entire 16 games. And it was encouraging to see. But then 2017 tears his Achilles. 2018, he's on and off the field. And I thought even when he was on the field, it looked like he was playing kind of hesitant and almost trying not to get injured rather than just go play football. And obviously he knew he was on a contract year. So it was alarming to me to see, that kind of play. I didn't think he looked like the Jordan Hicks that we grew to love as a rookie and in 2016 as well. Just being one of those all-out playmakers for us, always around the ball. I thought he looked pretty mediocre. And I think that Nigel Bradham really needs a kind of a helping hand there. And it was time to get a guy that can be a long-term, kind of linebacker for us. And it's going to have to come through the draft rather than, trying to go sign a guy. I think they could sign a guy for depth, but I think they really like Kamu Grugier-Hill. And then I think that Nigel is going to get his running mate in the draft. So watch out for that. Moving on to safeties now. This market was robust. I talked about it on Twitter. Everybody knew the safety market was so loaded. And we already talked about Landon Collins, but there's Tyrann Mathieu. He ends up on the Chiefs. You had Earl Thomas. He ended up today signed with the Baltimore Ravens. So thank God the Dallas Cowboys missed out on both of those guys because an elite safety would probably take the Dallas Cowboys over the top. And I think that they really shot themselves in the foot. I mean, at the end of the day, they're going to take care of their own guys. I think that they're doing the right thing, but if they just could have somehow, if they had Howie Roseman, I'll tell you what, he would have strung together something and got them that elite safety, and it would have been a problem because they have a really tough defense from top to bottom, and adding that ball hawk safety back there behind that tough front and the secondary that they have would have been crazy. However, he ends up in Baltimore, and the Ravens had cut Eric Weddle, and he signed with the Rams. So safety's all over the place. Adrian Amos, a top safety for the Bears, starting safety for the Bears. One of the top guys, really had an amazing season last year, ends up with a division rival in the Green Bay Packers. Niche, the Eagles have Malcolm Jenkins and Rodney McLeod. Are they set at safety, or should they have jumped on one of these signings?
I think they're good at safety. Like I said last week, they need a third safety to back one of those guys up if they get injured, like a Darian Stewart. So I don't think the Eagles miss much in the free agency of safeties.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right. They need more of a third safety, a backup. We have Rodney McLeod back on a one-year deal, and you got Malcolm Jenkins, who's the guy there. So, you might draft a guy. You might end up picking up a veteran at some point to be that third safety, like Darian Stewart. I totally forgot he was out there. It's a good game plan, and we'll see, how that works out. And then there was Lamarcus Joyner as well, who's more of a versatile DB, and he signed with the Raiders. Speaking of versatile DBs, I mean, Ronald Darby isn't versatile. He's a cornerback. However, he's out there on the market, an Eagle. Do you want to sign him back for the Eagles, or are you okay with him visiting the Chiefs and potentially joining that team?
I would be okay with him joining the Chiefs because, like I said, for Jordan Hicks, he's kind of injury prone. In 2017, he dislocated his ankle, and then last year he tore his ACL. So I don't think we can, rely on him. Maybe there might be a few cornerbacks in free agency, but I think we're good with the guys that we have now, like Sidney Jones, Avante Maddox, Rasul Douglas. So I think our cornerbacks are pretty set.
Yeah, I agree. I think corner is pretty set. Not too upset about Ronald going out there and trying to get a big check or get a chance on another team. I think the Eagles need to develop what they have and maybe add a veteran at some point. But, adding a defensive back is something I could see happening down the line here. Jimmy Ward is a guy that's been talked about. Not by anyone, credible, just an idea Eagles fans have kicked around, and I think it's a good one. I think that they could definitely look into a guy like I'm trying to come up with someone on this list here that I have, but I can't. So I'm just going to move on, and we're going to talk receivers. We're going to talk Antonio Brown and Golden Tate and a little more Odell Beckham now. I think Odell Beckham's fit with the Browns is so intriguing. You have Jarvis Landry in the slot. You have a guy like Antonio Callaway who can play pretty much anywhere. You have Baker Mayfield at quarterback. You have David Njoku at tight end. You have Kareem Hunt waiting just to come back and join that team and join the league again. And you have Nick Chubb in the meantime, who was phenomenal last year. The offensive line has been, I think that's something Cleveland that hasn't gotten a lot of credit for, is that they've built some good offensive lines. It's just that everyone else was bad. The Browns have a lot of potential, and then you move and you shift over to the Raiders, and you see AB, you see Tyrell Williams, who they signed today. You see Derek Carr getting those weapons, and you see a team that has 3 first-round picks. I'm sorry, they have 2. Oh, no. They have 3. They traded a 3rd-round pick for Antonio Brown. Unbelievable. And they have 3 first-round picks. That team has a lot of potential. The Raiders and the Browns made big-time wide receiver acquisitions, big-time moves, culture-changing type moves to improve their team, have the assets in the draft. They have a combined 5 first-round picks. So, I mean, no, I don't know. I've had a long day. The Raiders have 3. I don't think the Browns have 2. I don't know where I got that from. However, the Raiders do have 3. They're probably the best set-up team in the league right now. And everyone laughed at John Gruden when he traded Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper. And he gets first-rounders back for him. He got another one from the Bears coming up. That team is positioned to rebuild. They got some culture, some attitude in there, some weapons for Derek Carr. They're an exciting on-the-come-up team. Nish, if you had to predict who's going to have a better future, the Browns or the Raiders?
That was a tough question. I got to say the Browns, because they got a second-year quarterback, Baker Mayfield. He's going to improve. He's got those weapons. He's got Odell and Jarvis. Both of those guys played at LSU together, so they kind of know each other pretty well. Then you get, like you said, the tight end and the running back and the offensive line. So I think the Browns are like they have more things going for them than the Raiders, because the Raiders are in the same division as Patty Mahomes and the Chiefs, and how amazing he is. And he just, Patrick Mahomes, he just lights up defenses. He'll throw the ball at the receiver without looking. So I think, personally, I think the Raiders need a new quarterback. Like, I don't think Derek Carr is the answer. I don't think they're gonna go for a quarterback in the draft this year. They might go in next year's draft, but yeah. I think the Browns are set up for more in the future than the Raiders.
With the Browns.
Yeah.
I agree. I think you're right. That division's ridiculous with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, it's going to be tough for the Raiders. Though they do have more assets to draft players and things like that, I think that they'll be a little, more slower moving, pushing forward. I think that the Browns have the best roster in their division, and if Baker Mayfield really is legit, they win the division next season. The Steelers still have some pedigree and some experience there, so I wouldn't completely count them out. I wouldn't count the Ravens out of that division, obviously, either. I think that they made some big moves. They got Mark Ingram. So that's a guy that I would have loved on the Eagles, just a pounding running back, but they got him, and then they got Earl Thomas. So they made some big upgrades and really showed, hey, look, I know, the Browns are great, but they showed that they made some big moves too, and they still have some juice left with Super Bowl winning head coach. And I think you're going to see a really tough division next year for them. But the Browns are finally looking legit, and it's really exciting for them. And I think a lot of people are just happy for them because that fan base has just been tortured for years. And I think that's one of the teams I'm definitely looking forward to watching is the Cleveland Browns in 2019. And who would have thought? But they had a parade, more like a protest for their 0-16 season a few years ago to say, hey, look, we're fed up. And they go out and they build this team. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. But we're going to talk a little Birds, and the Birds missed out on a couple guys today, and we're not too happy about it. It's Tevin Coleman, it's Mark Ingram, a couple running backs. Le'Veon Bell went to the Jets. We were all hoping for a running back, and it didn't happen. I'd maybe hop on Twitter right now and check that out. But I don't think anything's going to happen today, and it's upsetting. We wanted to see something happen and solve that running back position, but look on the bright side. We brought Malik Jackson in, like you said earlier, and then we got another guy by the name of Deshaun Jackson. And that guy's back. What do you expect out of Deshaun this year?
I think I think he's going to have a great year. I don't think he's going to get 1,000 yards. But I think he's going to be somewhere between that 900 yards and 1,000 yards, but not getting to that 1,000, over 1,000. But he's going to open up the offense for Carson Wentz because you're going to have him. You're going to have Alshon running the middle routes. I'm going to open up the field for Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert. And then whatever running back we get, team defenses are not going to be able to they're not going to they can't stack the box because they got to respect Deshaun Jackson's speed. And that dude, he can take the top off off the defense, and that's somebody we've been looking for ever since Chip Kelly, released him. So he kind of fills out a need. I don't know if we're gonna target a wide receiver in the draft. Maybe in the later rounds, but not like our first pick. So Deshaun Jackson is gonna help this offense really tremendously, and I just can't wait to see that first play. Carson Wentz throws a 75-yard touchdown pass to Deshaun Jackson. The Wentz is going to go crazy, and I really want to be there for that. Take in the whole crowd and stuff.
Yep, that's something we talked about when we linked up the other night for dinner and to just kind of plot this, a couple episodes out. You're talking ball, and that's something we chatted about was potentially going to this first game in September when the Eagles play at the Link for the first time. And big Deshaun Jackson play early in the game. Like you said, the crowd is going to go crazy. It's going to be electric. It's the type of player he is. Not only does he make a big play, but he's just got that aura about him that when he makes that play, it just like hurts the other team's soul and it gets the crowd into it. And I can't wait to see him do exactly what you said. Just push those safeties back. You can't, bring them down and stuff our run. Opens the whole field up because that one play when you sleep on him, he's gonna go find that open green downfield and catch a touchdown. So, you look back at the season he had last year. He's still shaking guys. He's still running deep past guys. You might have lost a little speed here, just a bit. But for the most part, he's not really somebody that takes huge hits or anything through his career. And he's not really had crazy injuries. He's had, tweaks here and there as he's gotten older, especially. But Deshaun Jackson is a guy that can really, really fly and take the top off a defense. And he's getting way better with route running and techniques this stage of his career. He's not going to only be a deep threat. I mean, I remember his rookie year, he was called only a punt return. He's only going to be a kick return. He's too small to play on offense. Comes out, he's our best receiver his rookie year. Now people are saying, oh, all he is a deep threat. All he can do is run deep. That's just not true. I mean, he can come back on teams. Corners respect that dude's speed. He can run comebacks. He can run outs. He can run slants. He's not going to put his body at risk and take ginormous hits. But him, Aguilar, and Alshon on the same field, plus Ertz and Dallas Goedert with a full offseason to really integrate Dallas Goedert as a pro after his rookie year was obviously, it's always a whirlwind for rookies. Dallas Goedert is going to eat in this offense with all these weapons. And then you just add the running backs. And Deshaun makes all the difference. And I couldn't be happier that he's back. I can't wait to go take in that atmosphere and just absolutely go crazy for Deshaun Jackson. He was one of my favorite players. My favorite Deshaun Jackson play, I'm going to have to think, obviously the miracle at the Meadowlands was huge. And that's everyone's favorite play. But I don't know. I would say I loved how he played when Kevin Kolb was the quarterback when McNabb got hurt. I remember a Saints game and a Chiefs game where he just had huge touchdowns for us. And I just was like, man, he doesn't even need it. Like, he makes quarterbacks better. And that's exactly what he's going to do for Carson Wentz. What is some of your favorite memories of Deshaun Jackson? Let's share a little bit of that.
Like you said, the miracle at the Meadowlands, like, that was such a crazy game because we were playing terrible. And then, at that time, I wasn't able to, watch the game live. I went to NFL.com and I saw, I was waiting for the updates. It was 38-31. And then I saw that green streak all the way to the end zone. And I tell my brother and my dad, hey, Deshaun Jackson, he ran the punt back and we won the game. And we were in the living room and we started jumping up and starting hugging each other. So yeah, that's one of the fondest memories I have of him. And then that one play in 2010 against the Dallas Cowboys where I think he takes it 90 yards from a pass from Michael Vick, and how right before he gets to the end zone, he leans back like that. And basically just Deshaun Jackson, he's a Cowboys killer, he's a Giants killer, and he's a Redskins killer. Yep. And then when he was with the Redskins, he was also an Eagles killer. But to have him on our team and how we're trying to go for another Super Bowl, I can't be more excited.
Would there be two better guys than Carson Wentz and Deshaun Jackson to win Super Bowls with the Eagles? I mean, it would be perfect. It would be the only thing left to do would be to bring back LaShawn McCoy and get him one too. But I mean, I can't think of anything better than Carson Wentz and Deshaun Jackson being part of an Eagles Super Bowl right now, just to cement their legacies in Philly. And Wentz has a long time to go, but Deshaun, he's got 2 years potentially here, and then he's probably going to be gone. So we got to get that guy a ring, and I really want him to help out and get there and be able to play in that game and really go to war with, whether it's Andy Reid, that'd be great, or Bill Belichick again. I don't care. I just want to get back to that game, and it would be nothing better to me than for D Jackson and Carson Wentz to be connecting on big plays and doing what they got to do to win. And that's what everyone wants to see and everyone demands of them. And that's what they're going to have to do. So
one more thing before we move on from the Deshaun Jackson, I just want to add something that's not being talked about enough. Deshaun Jackson, he played here from 08 to 13. He knows how the city works. He knows how the fan base works. He knows if he's not on his game, we're going to get on him. So I think that's maybe probably one of the biggest reasons why he came back, because he knows what to expect. Some of these other guys, they might have not chosen Philadelphia because we have that Like people think we're rabid fans and take it all the way back to like the 1960s when we threw snowballs at Santa Claus. Like people just need to move on from that because they're not speaking from experience being in that link and when the team is on a roll. Like they just think about the negative, and I think that's one thing that Deshaun knows about. So
yeah, no, I think that's a great point. Deshaun Jackson said he wanted to be in Philly. He said it last year, and I didn't even believe him. I said, yeah, he's trying to use us for leverage. He wants a big contract. He wants to get out of Tampa. He doesn't care if it's here, but he knows he's going to make headlines saying it. He stays in Tampa, and he says the same thing coming into this year. I want to be back in Philly. And I'm like, well, until something happens, I'm not going to get my hopes up. I'm not going to talk about Deshaun Jackson, whatever. And the rumor starts gaining steam. And it's reported that he wanted to be here the last 2 years. And he finally gets his wish, and he comes back, and he's in Philly, and he's on Instagram in Del Frisco's, and he's hype working out. He had the day the trade went down, he's working out in some warehouse type facility and just yelling, let's go Philly and things like that. So Deshaun Jackson wanted to be in Philly, and it's not because he, just wanted to be here randomly. He likes all that kind of attention. He likes how the fans get on you. He likes the energy. He wanted to be in Philadelphia, familiar with everything. And I think that's why bringing him in isn't as big a risk and is actually worth every penny of the $9 million per year that we're paying him on his new contract, because it's like bringing a guy in that you already know fits the Philly culture. He's got relationships with guys in that building. He was here with Doug Peterson. They have a relationship. They know each other. He knows Howie Roseman. He understands, the things that led to Chip Kelly getting rid of him, and he doesn't have any bad blood with the Philadelphia Eagles. It's more with Chip Kelly. So with Chip Kelly gone, he comes back. He wants to play for us. He wants to play hard. He's going to give more for us than he would have given for any other team. He's going to be a guy that you already know what you're getting when you bring him in. You're getting a guy that a lot of the players on the team still know and have a relationship with. Lane Johnson even was here when Deshaun Jackson was on the team. In 2013, Lane was a rookie. Jason Peters obviously has a strong relationship with Deshaun. You have these guys that know this guy and had a relationship with him before he left the team, and bringing him in is like taking care of one of your own players, and that goes a long way. It's going to go a long way, and there's nothing more than what I'd like to see is for them to make the playoffs and just go on a run with D-Jax, leading the charge, being the electrifying player we know he can be. Might miss a few regular season games with some hamstring injury or something like that, but that's not detrimental. If we have Deshaun Jackson last year for 10 games, we probably win the division, realistically. So hopefully the whole team can elevate, play up to standard, and have Deshaun on the field for 12, 14 games even is a huge win for us as Eagles fans getting to see him and for the whole team benefiting. But like you said, the draft is coming up, and we'll see if they draft a receiver. So Malik Jackson signs as well with the Eagles, and that kind of, wrapped up the moves that the Eagles made. They lost a couple guys, Michael Bennett and Ronald Darby, another guy. Golden Tate was a guy that, I said we would talk about. And, he's still out there. The Eagles don't seem to have much interest in bringing him back. We're going to end it out. This is a little short episode, but we're going to end it out. Still gave you 40 minutes of good chat. But we're going to end it out with a move we want to see happen in free agency for the Eagles. And if we think it's actually going to happen, or it could be a trade, anything like that, and how that move will really kind of look for the Eagles going forward. I'll just go first and say that I hope they draft Devin Bush in the draft. I'm going to say it could be the draft too. I hope they draft Devin Bush in the draft, and I hope that he can be Nigel Bradham's wingman pretty much. Free agency, depth linebackers, whatever, fine. But one thing I really hope happens is that they can get a linebacker. Devin Bush might go too high, There's some other guys out there. I just need to see them get Nigel Bradham's wingman because they lost Jordan Hicks. They don't have really any replacement for him, and I think you need to find that guy because Nigel Bradham's too good to just waste his talent being the only good linebacker on the team. He needs another guy to play in there with him, and they need to patrol that inside of the field, the middle of the field, and stop the run and, get pressure when called upon. He needs another guy out there with him that he can vibe off of, and they can, play fast together and play the way it should be played and get back to that top run stopping defense and really bolster that front seven. So that's my desired wish. Turn it over to Nish for what you hope happens going forward, whether it's a trade, free agency, acquisition, and or draft pick. Go ahead.
So I'm going to go the trade route, and I kind of hope the Eagles get Jordan Howard from the Bears. I don't know how many draft picks we got to give up, but we just need a running back. We just need one badly. I don't know. I know we've talked about this before, but we can't rely on Josh Adams and Wendell Smallwood and Corey Clement and Darren Sproles to be the leading running backs. We need a solid guy, and I've seen some tape of Jordan Howard in the past few days, and I think he would be a good fit. Now, if we do trade for him, we also need to get somebody else, like you mentioned, a TJ Yeldon, and then maybe in the draft get somebody in like the 4th or 5th round, like a diamond in the rough. But yeah, that's pretty much who I hope what the Eagles do. So
yeah, I would agree with that. Running back is obviously the biggest thing that's going to be talked about, and that's why I kind of picked a linebacker just to kind of because I knew one of us was going to talk running back. So I went linebacker, and I think those are the two big needs right now: are linebacker and running back, and we're going to see them probably address both in free agency or a trade, and then they're going to go to the draft and probably also get some rookies, but they like to insulate their rookies with veteran pickups, and I like that because I think that goes a long way and really helps. It really, it's kind of safe in doing so. So I think that's what they'll do, and then. Yeah, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go hop on Twitter real quick, live on the stream, and I'm going to see if there's any moves that we missed because I didn't check my phone at all. Okay. Nothing. Doesn't look like anything happened. So we are not looking like we're going to get any news. However, it was a good chatting with the moves that happened already. It's been a really eventful 3 days. We wanted to just hop on and just give you the scoop on all the thoughts that we had. And free agency continues. Tomorrow's a new day. Tonight, there's still some time left. Le'Veon Bell dropped his mixtape at midnight, and then Adam Schefter dropped the team he was signing with. It was actually pretty genius, if you ask me. But nonetheless, I'm Tom Stakes. Follow me on Twitter at Tom Stakes, Big Niche 20 at Big Niche 20. Got any suggestions for anything people should watch this weekend?
No, not really. I don't know if you saw this. I just want to add one thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
When I saw Le'Veon Bell signing with the Jets, I was in a trolling mood, so I decided to change my name to the Philadelphia Eagles and have the logo. And then I put roster move, and then Eagles have made a move for Tevin Coleman for a 4-year deal, and then more details to come. So it's kind of one of those things that I did. I was kind of just pissed off at how long Le'Veon Bell was doing, and I just kind of don't want to get on some Eagles fans' nerves and kind of push their buttons a little bit. So.
Did it work?
No, it didn't.
Okay, well, whatever. No, I did see that. I thought it was funny. And honestly, obviously, I didn't interact with the tweet. But when I saw that, I was like, hold up. And then I saw it was you, and I was like, oh, shoot. Niche just duped me. I really thought that was for just 1 second, I was like, wait, no way. And I was like, oh, he's just probably trolling people. So
yeah.
I was just laughing at that. But no, it was a good show. And follow Branded Sports as well at Branded_sports. We just gave you our breakdowns of things. So hit us up on Twitter. And we will see you guys next week. Enjoy your rest of your week, your weekend, and we'll have our regular scheduled show back next week, Thursday night, and we will be able to break everything down. We might rotate Wednesday, Thursday night, depending on things dropping and stuff like that. But we are going to log off with that and just stay tuned in. Stay tuned into your phone to Twitter and figure out where guys are going to end up, who's next, what domino is going to drop, trades, everything. It's a fun time. So we will see you later, guys, and I will see you later, Niche.
See you guys. See you, Tom.
Peace. And I'm happy.